Yeah,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. You can maximize.
you can see it.
Yes, we can see it now. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. It is a pleasure. Welcome to everyone. It's a pleasure to attend this international conference on economic and social science that will be taking several places. My presentation will be taking Kyoto, but with the COVID, we are changing our working mode to other things and new technologies, and soon is one a proper application. The work that I present in this case is the research work that the Professor Iglesias and I we are trying to develop an Untitled railway industry and engineer for promoting the circular economy. For develop this presentation, the English will be the following. First of all, I do a brief introduction. After that, I define the main objectives and describe the methodology followed in the research that will consist in literature review, define the barriers and drivers in the implementation of circular business model in the railway sector, and explain the future steps of this research. And finally, the discussion of the main objectives. At the beginning of the 19th century, with the Industrial Revolution, the fossil resources began to be used as an energy source for production process. At first, the growth of industry was associated with wealth and prosperity. However, the exploitation of the resource, the destruction of the ecosystems, and the climate change produce an environmental and health problems in the society. These facts are generating great concern in the European administrations, international organizations, and the society in general. The transport sector is considered to be one of the largest consumers in energy and one of the main causes of greenhouse gas emissions, especially where traffic supposes the 25% of these emissions, and with 33% are concentrated in the urban agglomerations. In order to minimize this problem, the European Commission established the National Integrated Energy and Climate Plan 2021 till 2030. Concretely, the mobility and transport sectors try to reduce the emission by 28 millitons, the CO2 equivalents, that suppose a reduction of 35% of conventional combustion vehicles. For this reason, we will search of other alternative non-emitting transport, or choose the collective public transport like train, metro, tram, etc. In this case, at this step, the railway plays an important role in the fight against the climate change. In order to solve the environmental problems and fulfill the European plan, the companies and the administration are trying to move from a linear to a circular model. The linear economy established that we start with the raw material that introduced in the production process, we use it, and then we waste. The new model, circular one, tried to have the raw material production, use it, but recycle part of this raw material and include in the circular life of trade. The circular business model is try to focus in the principle of closing the life cycle of product, service, goods, material, etc., in order to make more efficient use resources and improve the sustainability. In this way, we can remain competitive and differentiate ourselves from their competitors, generating greater economic, social, and environmental value. The European railway sector has developed in the last years, making the railway transport accessible to all citizens. Under a collective public transport that is low in emission and lower in energy consumption, the railway is a key means of locomotion for sustainable urban and interurban mobility. Therefore, it's considered when the main axis for the national and international long-term transport policies and strategies. The objective pursuit in this research is analyze the drivers and barriers to implement a circular model, a circular business model, especially an exhaustive analysis model will carry out on a circular business model in the European Union. The methodology in this research is developed in four stages: the literature review, a semi-structured interviews, survey, electronic surveys, and finally the analysis of the option. For the literature review, we use the Web of Science database using circular economy, drivers, and barriers as keywords. From this study, we were obtained 294 articles in which 34 dealt with models of innovation in circular economy. From their study, we established the main obstacles, internal and external, depend on the source of these barriers, to the implementation of a circular business model. In case of the internal variables, we determine the key factors that depend on the company, as organization, financial states, and knowledge and technology. In case of organization, for example, the organizational capabilities, financial state, the higher cost to establish the circular business model innovation. In case of the knowledge and technology, the human resources that the company has, and the best available technology. In case of the external variables, we determine the key factors that not depend only on the company, such as market conditions, for example, margin, customer requirements, supply chain management, transport costs, transport emissions, administrations, regulations, and society, then certainly for regulation, because it's a hot issue that is under the law every day, environmental engagement to the customer, etc. In the future step, we do a semi-structured interview to the managers in the companies that work in the railway sector, trying to find the barriers and drivers that they are perceiving when they change the traditional model, is the linear model, to a circular business model. Then we do a survey that we distribute electronically. After that, the aim is to obtain a sufficiently large sample to enable to analyze the results obtained and establish an evaluation model capable of identifying the drivers and barriers to the implementation of a circular business model in the European railway sector. Finally, with our study, we try to determine the key factor for in order to implement a circular economic model, and how encourage the drivers and reduce the barriers that the railway sector face to change their traditional business model paradigm to a circular one. Additionally, we would like to emphasize the key factors that the institutions must consider to help and promote this change uh, for one more sustainable paradigm. Uh, Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, sir. Do you have any questions? Well, thank you, sir. We'll just go for the next presentation.
Okay.
Gitanjali,